15, we have a presentation. Arnaldo again. Boy, a busy night for you. I can guess why this is being removed. Article in the paper or something?
All right, correct. So this evening, Mayor and members of the council, staff does have a presentation. However, I'm not sure if there's a specific question or if you'd like me to go through the presentation. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
So, so staff has prepared a letter for signature by Mayor Stan Cleveland, opposing some of the proposed cuts under the president's proposed budget. Specifically, the president has made some proposed cuts to HUD funding, specifically for some of the programs that the city relies on for funding, as well as our partner here in the community, being the Housing Authority here in the city. Those programs historically have targeted disadvantaged community members, specifically the disabled, senior citizens, veterans, indigent families with special needs, or people that lived in impoverished communities. Specifically, here for Yuba City directly, the city on an annual basis receives roughly $685,000. Under the president's proposed budget, the CDBG program is proposed to be cut significantly, and so that would be a direct hit here for our community, directly through the city, because those dollars are channeled through the city. The president's also proposing to eliminate the home program. The city currently has about $225,000, or maybe around $200,000 now, and those dollars are used for first-time home buyers who cannot qualify on their own. However, they have adequate credit scores and everything else, and they're obviously employed, and then we simply help them traditionally with the down assistance program. And then there's also proposed cuts to the Section 8 housing program and to some of the other housing programs. That the Housing Authority had approached the city a couple of weeks ago and had asked the city to prepare a letter of support opposing some of those cuts. So staff prepared a letter that's before the council. We do have a representative from the Housing Authority, Mrs. Gail Allen, who can speak directly to the proposed funding cuts on that and how that would impact her and her agency and their constituents. And so that concludes my presentation, unless the council has any specific questions for me.
Gail? Briefly, what your analysis and some stuff is. I served with you or on the housing for, was it 9 years?
Yeah.
And brought it from a subsistence squatting pretty much into hand up, get you out and buy a house, and it was awesome to be part of that.
I've been the CFO of the Housing Authority for almost 19 years now. I've seen a lot of changes in funding. What I want to address are just the ones that are specifically for us. The first one is the Public Housing Operating Fund. That is what keeps us operational. Pays for staff, pays for general paper, pens, and pencils and things like that of the program. When you move down to the second one, the Capital Fund, that's the one that has the most concern for us because that's maintaining our properties. It's not building anything new. All it is making sure that we maintain the structures. We have a lot of deferred maintenance because they're cutting our budgets. And in some cases, we come to you for CDBG funds to be able to help us. So you've just approved some funding for Kingwood Commons, for roofing, and that's what that goes to. The next one is the Section 8 program, which is also known as the Housing Choice Voucher Program. That's also a huge one for us. HUD has never cut our HAP funds. Those are the funds that are paid to the landlords. They've never prorated those. They're now prorating them. This year, they've prorated it 97%. That means 3% of the vouchers that we had that we were assisting people isn't going to be there for us. And Gus is actually on vacation, so that's why he asked me to come and answer any questions that you might have. But it's a huge concern for me, and it's a huge concern, obviously, for him as the executive director in being able to maintain affordable housing for the people in the community. And in some cases, such as the Section 8 program, these are individuals who are being assisted, are assisting our landlords in the community. It's not just us. So we would ask that the council provide support to the Housing Authority as your Housing Authority. We're the we've just changed our name to Regional Housing Authority, but we serve the Sutter, City of Live Oak, City of Yuba City. We go up to Nevada County. We go over to Colusa. We've had others contact us to see whether or not we could help with their programs as well. Any questions?
Any questions from council members? The only one that I will have is that, well, actually a couple things here. So it looks to me like basically it would be market rate is what it would end up being for the people to pay, because they would have no assistance to do that. And so what happens to the affordability, market to scale, their income, and also some of the requirements that we have to have affordable housing that are imposed upon us by different levels of government. And if I feel that if a government is going to require us to comply with their regulations, that they better have some skin in the game, and they need to pay at least a portion of that. Otherwise, quit requiring some of this stuff for us to have to do. And so that's where an article that came out in a paper does not understand the complexity of this issue, is that we are just trying to tell the government, if you're going to do unto us, we want you to pay for it
And
as much as we can get out of you.
Just a couple.
Which we're the government. They're basically stealing the money from us and giving us a pittance back.
Well, just a couple points that I came up with today. In 2016, 86% of non-elderly, non-disabled households who were receiving HUD subsidy are either working, have recently worked, or are looking for work. So that addresses that article of, we're just giving away free housing. Also, too, with public housing, 30% of income of people who are in public housing, they pay 30% of their income back. So nobody gets free housing. Everybody has to pay.
Right. And it's based on a basic formula that the real estate and financial planning has established over many decades. Is about 30% is reasonable. Unfortunately, 40% sometimes is what it's gone up to for even the general public. Yes.
Through the mayor.
You want to talk?
If we could go back, I believe it's one slide. Thank you very much. Why did I ask for this to be pulled? Because I don't even call it an article in the paper, it's an opinion.
It's an opinion.
And individuals possess at least two things that I'm aware of, and one of those is an opinion. And I'll leave the other one unnamed at this point. But to paint a council as liberals by any member that takes time to write into the paper that is an employee of the Appeal Democrat, I find highly objectionable when this is our community. This is Yuba City. These are individuals, veterans, individuals with disabilities. As the mayor said, one of the big things that's going on here is we have certain requirements. And then for the president to take back, or for HUD to even consider moving funding away from the local communities, is not an action of either a conservative or a liberal. It's a money savings issue at the federal government that has a direct impact on our community, on our residents. Some of the programs could be deemed as liberal. Many of these are individuals that certainly are in the system. And as we heard, we have deferred costs currently going on just for the maintenance of properties. Why? Because there's constant cutback within that funding. This has been happening. I don't care if it was through a liberal administration or a highly conservative administration. The cuts have been coming. We need to take a stand, and if those regulations are going to be put in place, we need to take that stand and say we need the funding for it. And that's why I would support this letter.
Okay, any other comments? So I would like to, I am looking for action on item 15
Move to approve.
and a second.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Our statement has been made. Thank you for being here tonight and chatting with us. Appreciate the perspective.